Hello, Blair St. Clair.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
I am good. It's been another busy day in paradise, but I can't complain.
What's been going on since DragWorld last weekend?
Oh my gosh. Well, almost every time after a big event like DragWorld or DragCon or something where you're meeting a lot of people, I almost always get sick. Almost always. So I got home from DragWorld on Tuesday morning, which I haven't been home in almost 3 weeks. And I went to the doctor and I was like, I don't feel so good. And he's like, yeah, you have a little bit of a cold. So he recommended that I rest for a few days, even though I really didn't. And I've been working on a lot of different meetings and a lot of different things, like preparing for DragCon coming up, preparing for all kinds of different things. So I had the week to myself at home, but I was working through it.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
I didn't get to catch you at DragWorld. It was manic. It was the first convention I've attended out of the 3 years it's been running. I wanted to ask you, what was your highlights of that weekend at DragWorld UK?
I think the highlights were all the people, all the fans, because DragWorld is so different than DragCon in the United States, where DragWorld, I just feel like all the fans are so happy to be there. They're so excited. They treat us as entertainers and as people with even more respect and compassion than I find even in the United States at times. And what I really love, especially about DragWorld, is that DragWorld to me is kind of like, how do I describe it? It's kind of like an all-inclusive queer event, and it's not just about meeting and seeing and celebrating the drag queens that are there. It's about celebrating everyone and everything and all queer artists around. Whereas I feel like DragCon sometimes specifically pinpoints just the drag queens that have been from just RuPaul's Drag Race, and I think a lot of the other amazing artists get lost.
Do you find drag is more acceptable in the UK rather than the US?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question, only because I feel like the United Kingdom is more progressive in the fact that I think maybe the humor in the UK is a little bit more crass, and it's a little bit more open, and it's a little bit more in culture a little bit more accepting, because the humor is different in the UK than it is in the United States. So I feel like because of that, inherently the people in the UK are more open and receptive to more ideas and more things that might not just be the norm of mainstream culture. And I think the United States is much more accepting today than it has been in the past, but I feel like the United Kingdom already is more progressive in terms of accepting more art like drag.
At the convention, at DragWorld itself, any UK artists, drag artists, that really did pop out at you?
My closest friends is Ellis Atlantis, and we don't get to see each other as often because obviously I live in the States and I travel a lot, and she lives in the UK. So it was so good to catch up with her and see her. Her art inspires me so much. I just think that she's incredibly talented and has a huge future ahead of her, and is also proving as a drag queen but also makeup artist that can have an amazing progressive career without having RuPaul's Drag Race behind her as her only platform. Of course, she did Glow Up on the BBC, but had already had an immense following even before that. So I think it's really amazing how she just showcases all of her talent versus just the fact that she was on television. Other artists, I'm trying to think of someone else that may else. Oh yes, Charity Case, Mr. Travesty.
Is there any ideas you could be interested in working with some of our, UK drag artists?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of UK drag scene. I've actually even said, at one point in time, I would be so happy moving to the UK. That's how much I love it in the UK, but London specifically. I would even apply to do UK Drag Race. I would even do it again, one more time.
A retweet from your Twitter account, retweeting the Drag Race UK that's going to be broadcasted this autumn.
Yes.
Is there any possibility you could be a guest?
Unfortunately, I have had a lot of other obligations this past year, so I'm not going to be a guest on Drag Race UK. But however, I am going to put out into the universe that I want to be in the future.
Great, we need to get you back over. In regards to the barriers that we still have to overcome, more so in drag, do you feel that there is a lack of ethnic minority drag queens?
What I love is, like, instead of like focusing on what there isn't, I love seeing like the positive, look what there is. And it's so amazing seeing so many cultures accept drag even more, and so many people that especially that I notice that are in the United States, because the United States is so cultured and so becoming so diverse with so many walks of different people. There's culture everywhere, that I see people doing drag or hearing stories of people that I meet in even meet and greets at my shows that are doing drag that say, my mom and dad would have never accepted that I did drag because culturally that's not something that I can even be gay. But now, like, you know, with the mainstream of drag, you know, is increasing and becoming so much more popular, people understanding what it is and that it's an art form, it's made my life easier. And hearing that is just like incredible. So I don't know if there's necessarily a huge outcry for even more diversity right now, but I hope that there becomes even more and more and more and more queens that emerge from every race, ethnicity, every cultural background out there, because drag is for absolutely everyone.
You've had an amazing music career.
I know that my album as a whole was number one, and I was the first queen to reach number one with their debut album.
And how did it feel to hear that?
Oh my gosh, absolutely unreal. It's a dream of mine that I've always wanted to have, and I've always believed within myself, but you know, you can't make it happen by yourself. Yeah. The reason like I've had any success that I've had, or I've had any, I've had an amazing career that I've had, is not only because of me. And I think a lot of people forget that. The reason I've had such success, or the reason I've had such an amazing career, is because of all of the people that support me and love me and that show me so much kindness. Because the people that stream my music, the people that are listening to my music, the DJs that play my music in clubs, the people that have reached out to me saying we want to play you on the radio, those are the people that, and the fans obviously, you know, listening everywhere, are the people that have helped propel me to where I am, and hopefully to even further where I want to go. I couldn't just release, I mean, I could release something, but I can't release something and just go to number one overnight by myself. It doesn't happen that way.
Are we to expect any music coming out soon?
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited about this. So I've been working on a secret album for quite some time now, because it just, music is so special to me, and I feel like I can tell a really special, honest story through my music. So I originally released more music targeted toward the dance community, because I really just wanted my music to be played. I wanted people to hear it, and I wanted it to be played in clubs. And I knew that would be, with people never hearing an artist, that would be my easiest way for people to kind of hear me, was through dance music. And my end goal has always been pop. So I'm really excited to finally put a really great pop album together that's going to be released in the early spring. And hopefully people will like it just as much and even more than the first album I released.
And would there be any possibilities of touring in Europe, UK?
That's the goal. So the goal is that the album's coming out and that it does well. So we need everyone to stream it, to love it, to like it, to share it, to retweet it, all the above. Because if that happens, then we can put together a tour to go across the entire world. And that's what is the goal.
And on your new album, any collaborations?
As of right now, collaborations are kind of being talked about and worked out, the specific details, so I can't give you an exact yes or no, but they're definitely being talked about.
Now, lastly, I'm going to ask you any exclusive information for 2020?
Actually, I can give you some exclusive information for possibly the next month,
Okay.
for the end of 2019, because I just got word. Now, it's not 100% confirmed, but it looks as though I will be played on the radio here in the United States of America within the next month. The first asked to be played on 99.5 in Washington, D.C., which is the largest pop radio in the capital of the United States. So that's really cool.
That is amazing. I will let you go, and we hope you will be returning back to the UK for DragWorld 2020.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I'm hoping and praying. So I need everyone to help me to let the promoters know that they want me to come back for another year, because it was so much fun for me the first year.
Perfect. That's great. I will be watching everything on your social media posts.
Well, thank you so much. It was so wonderful talking with you.
And yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll talk to you again soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.